All right, so we are rolling, and here is. Can you hear it?
Barely.
I don't know where the. Everything's coming up roses. All right, that's enough. Very good. Well, hello once again, my friends.
Yes, this is Paulie and me. I am the me of Paulie and me. Loren Margulies coming to you from Dallas, Texas. And this is...
I am Paulie of the Paulie and me, coming live from my studio here in Sleepy Eye, Minnesota.
Today, we are going to talk, because Paul and I love movies. We're going to talk a little about musicals.
But not necessarily movie musicals, we said.
Okay.
Well, we can do movie musicals, but I thought it was the whole topic was musicals per se.
Sure. I will talk movie musicals, because they're the ones that I know about, except the one musical that I've been to, Phantom of the Opera, with Michael Crawford. Woo, that was good.
That's the only one you've ever seen, that you have nothing else to base it on.
Nothing. But I enjoyed that. Enjoyed it.
It's a great one to see. It's full of theatrical. So, all right. So we will establish some ground rules. We'll talk about movie musicals, many of which were based on actual Broadway musicals.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So we'll go with your list, and then I can add on to it. I will say, as a disclaimer, I have produced and directed many musicals, but I want to state for the record, here's the ones that I have appeared in. Babes in Toyland, Sound of Music, Guys and Dolls, My Fair Lady, and Fiddler on the Roof, where I had major roles. So
very nice.
And then I've directed a lot more, but those were just the ones I wanted to mention.
And I guess for full disclosure, I have to say, I am just musical. I am just musical. So that's the only thing that I've ever performed in. Okay,
that's very good.
Okay.
You did your little da 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 da. All right. So you're going to start with your first choice of what you consider one. These are a couple of the best musicals ever.
To me. Going back a little and then coming forward in time. My first one, Hello, Dolly.
The movie. With, I believe, Barbara Streisand.
Yes.
Right.
And Louis Armstrong. Oh, yeah. Hello, Dolly. Oh, hello, Dolly.
Because that's a good impression, I don't think it's racist. That's everybody's impression of Louis. No. By the way, it starred a very mismatched Walter Matthau, who did the best he could, but was not really a musical theater guy.
And it had a young Michael Crawford in it.
Correct, who eventually went on to play in Phantom of the Opera. Of course, the actual the musical it starred Carol Channing, directed and produced by Gower Champion? Carol Channing, yeah, Gower Champion. And it was a legendary star vehicle for Carol Channing.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's your first one. All right.
That's my first one.
By the way, it's not on my list anywhere. It's not, to me, one of the best musicals. But it's a great movie, agreed.
Okay, go. What's on your list?
Well, the greatest musical, for my money, of all time, on film or on the stage, is this one.
Oh, South Pacific. Yeah, that was a good one. That was Shirley Jones, right?
No, that was Deborah Mitzi Gaynor and Rossano Brazzi.
Wasn't the movie Shirley Jones, though? No? Okay,
The play was Mary Martin, and the movie came along and used Rossano Brazzi, a great opera singer, and a very young Mitzi Gaynor, Ray. A lot of very, very famous people were in the movie. To me, it's the greatest musical because it has everything. It has a great score, a great music, great setting, the whole story, right? Everybody's waiting for World War II to begin. an interracial love story in 1949, which almost closed the show when one of the characters says racism and bigotry is not inherent. We're not born with it. We learn it.
Right.
And how topical that is. All right.
That's big. Yeah. Sort of apropos for
what's going on in these times.
Yeah. Okay. My second one is now moving a little more forward in time. West Side Story. Jets and the Sharks. Jets and the Sharks.
Here's one I agree with you. The movie is better than the play, in my opinion. The play was very esoteric. It was staged, very modern, but it was the first time that men danced like men and boys danced like boys, rather than a little more, artistic. Great story based on Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Again, it's not on my best of, but it is clearly one of the best because it didn't follow the traditional Broadway model. The musical on film was so beautiful. That's why, film can bring these musicals and transport them into great places.
And what a looker Natalie Wood in those days. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
And Cheetah Rivera steals the show with Everything's Free in America. The big number about how Puerto Ricans came to New York. Very funny, very Everything's free in America for a small fee in America.
Yes.
Very clever.
Okay, go.
All right. So moving way forward, because I have 3 in my box from the old days, the modern days, and the new days. I think one of the best musicals of the modern era is The Book of Mormon. Which opened in 2011, won all kinds of Tonys and Oscars. It is bizarre. It is sacrilegious. Although I just read this morning, the Mormons were okay with it because it kind of told their story, but just in a little skewed way. But it's got some of the best music and humor, Anyway, so that's The Book of Mormon, which was a play and not a movie yet.
Gotcha. Nice. That was good. That was good. And then my last one on the list, moving all the way forward, would be Grease. Thank you.
And why is it on your list?
Because 1, the music is fun. 2, you had to suspend the reality of watching these people in their late 30s, maybe early 40s, play high school students, and we were all okay with it. Olivia Newton-John in high school, probably in mid to late 30s, and
she'd already have 2 kids. She'd already performed all over the world with Elton John, but we suspended our disbelief.
And we were just okay with it.
And Stockard Channing, who plays the naughty girl, she must have been in her 50s by then.
Yeah, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun movie premise. So.
All right, so you brought yours up, and I think Grease is one of the worst shows ever written. It's a terrible influence for teenagers. And don't forget, I'm speaking now with my hat of being a drama teacher. I would never expose high school kids to a play that talked about the fact that if you're trampy, you smoke, and you hang out with a gang, you're popular. If you don't, you're a nerd.
That's interesting because I have heard some women talk about a moment in time in cinema where it's sort of what you said, women are taught a really bad lesson. And it's when Olivia Newton-John goes from being sort of pure and whatever, to the black leather outfit, and she's got to be like a temptress to be of significance to Danny Zuko.
Right, and Danny Zuko likes her, is kind of his virginal character, but really doesn't get his engine going until she wears the black leathers, which, by the way, they showed Olivia Newton-John recently. Within the last couple of years, she could still fit into those leather pants. God bless her. She's a nice-looking lady, Australian, I believe, and just wonderful. All right, so my third is the basis of all musicals that come forward. It was called Showboat. It appeared in 1927, way ahead of its time. A great story. Now, don't forget, before then, musicals were not really musicals. They were a bunch of songs put together with goofy acts in between. This was a solid story about life on a riverboat, about, again, mixed marriage and a baby. Oh, my God, and gambling. And it takes it all over the country with this guy running away from his wife and a woman who wants to be with an abusive husband. I mean, it was way ahead of its time, and then was made into 3 different movies, including the most famous later with Ava Gardner. My God, what a great role for her. So that was South Pacific. So that was my Showboat, South Pacific, Book of Mormon. Terrible musicals that I think are overrated. Cats is awful. Who knows what it is? Sunset Boulevard, I loved. Totally misunderstood. Great show. And then, of course, you're a Phantom of the Opera, which to me is overrated, but a piece of theatrical genius. And it's run
I'll give you another one that I just really like. It's not on my list, but one that I've always really enjoyed. And that they actually created a way of dance that did not exist just for the movie. Fiddler on the Roof.
Yes.
If I was a rich man, yep.
Well, it's one of the most, I'll agree, it's one of the most popular. It is a great musical, not a good one. Definitely on the top 5 for me.
Yeah.
Great movie, great, but the play with Zero Mostel broke all kinds of records and was performed in every country in the world, regardless of the fact that people didn't understand Judaism. It didn't matter. It was about a family trying to stay together, and the idea of tradition is what happened. The Japanese totally understood it.
Yeah.
The Chinese everybody got it. I mean, it was a story about generations. So
good story.
All right.
And very, very poignant moment at the end when the daughters are leaving and he's asking everybody where they're going. And the one says, we're going to Poland where they treat people better. And then hence we know what happened in Poland. So very poignant moment where it just sort of makes you go, oh,
it's not going to be happy for them.
Yeah, wow.
It's not going to be a happy ending for them. But my other favorite line is they say, where are you going? We're going to live with Uncle Morris in Chicago. And Tevye says, you got to tell everybody where we're going? Everybody has to know our business? You know, why don't you just tell the world we're going to Uncle Morris? All right, get on the truck. Let's go.
That's funny.
By the way, we left out perhaps the greatest movie musical of all time, which is voted on everybody's list as one of the top movies of all time, Singing in the Rain.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and that's on my top of my movie musical list. It was never a play. And they tried doing it as a musical on stage. I saw a couple of versions of it, unless you got money to really bring in rain, which is, by the way, water mixed with milk, so that you can see the raindrops.
Oh.
Otherwise, you just have this stuff that looks like mist. So you have to mix it with something. So, well, I think this was a wonderful episode. We talked about a lot of musicals.
Yeah. So, and for the general public, for the audience, for people out there, keep an eye out for the upcoming preview or premiere of
American Wiener. American Wiener, which will be coming to the small screen first, and then hopefully a TV network or production company will pick it up. We're very excited. Paulie and Me Productions produced American Wiener.
And it will be starring that man.
Well, I will be.
That man there.
I will be a small part of the production.
That guy. Hey. There's nothing small about your part.
That's right. I'm a big presence. All right. We'll see you next time, my friends.
Have a good day.
Goodbye. And let's see if I can leave with this. No, I can't leave with the music. Bye.